Quack, quack, quack.
Quack. 12 and oh,
Quack, quack, quack.
I am your host, Adam Chanel.
I'm there, sure.
I watch way too much Oregon Ducks athletics.
And I watched one flipping game, but I tried to watch 3.
There you go. You tried to watch 3. And actually, there's a 4th game going on as we speak, even. I guess I should pull up the score because I'm talking about Oregon BYU men's basketball. That hopefully, I don't know, hopefully it's another blowout for the Ducks. Oh, no. Actually, breaking news here. Even though this is going to be, days old here, BYU is up 33-15 against.
Oh, whenever I looked, it was 30-13.
Well, now it's even worse. So I don't know. That's
we'll
terrible.
Just keep looking into it as the episode goes by, and by the end of it, people will get information they learned 2 days ago. It'll be great.
Yeah, that's what this podcast is all about. Well, all I got to say, this is, as we said, the Quack 12 podcast, the most official, unofficial Oregon Ducks podcast on the web footosphere. Now, we just had a huge football game, and you know the rules here. The rules here is until football is over, until the football season is over, at least the regular season.
Right.
But at least the regular season, we don't fully put our attention towards Duck basketball. We keep one eye kind of on it, but mainly we are a football forward podcast and then basketball.
Adam, we can only handle one thing at a time.
That's right. We can only handle one bit at a time. The people watching this on YouTube are seeing Aaron and I's Oregon foam finger collection, and it's pretty cool.
It's our own version of Foam Corner.
That's yeah. Shout out County Bang Bang.
Paris
Whittles. So my friend, I will bring up basketball a little bit here because there is obviously some interesting shit that's happened with the women's team. For me, the biggest news was Tahina Pau did come back and played for about 3 minutes, like not long at all, but she came back and played. That means
totally. That's wild.
Yeah, that is a giant thing to happen that we desperately needed.
She was going to be gone for like weeks.
Yeah, I may have oversold that because I was freaking out.
So, I'm sure everybody was.
Yeah, India Rogers, it does appear like there's a broken bone somewhere in her, I think, arm. And they're saying that's going to take a while to heal. But at least Pau is healthy enough that they'll consider putting her in this game for any amount of time, and that's huge. Now, the results, they don't really matter. It was against Dixie State. I mean, I've never had heard of a Dixie State before this game. We won 84-35. Sure. It was just an awesome blowout, like they all are. 6 Duck players scored in double digits, and the most exciting stuff is that a lot of these are new, fresh faces. Obviously we had like the old reliables like Sedona Prince, Sydney Parrish, Kylie Watson. These are going to be very important players for the future. But I'm talking about Shania Pinto, who's got she's that energy where it's just like nonstop, like gas all the time, running down that court. She's got good size. She got good strength. It looks like she's going to really like cause some havoc. And that's what I love players like that, especially when they like got the speed and the size. It's really nice. Elise Hurst looks like she could really handle the ball. And as many of those we can get, especially with Indy Rogers injured. Filipina Kai, or I think it's Filipina Kai. Damn, I gotta tell you, man, we got a lot of players who are huge on this squad. A lot of players who are huge on both squads, actually. Like both of our teams are tall as hell because right now the men's team, some of our best players like Nafali Dante, like he's not playing right now, one of our best tall men, and then like we got a couple freshman tall men, and they look promising, but they haven't played all that much,
Sure.
But they still got the height. So the men's team, they just beat SMU, Southern Methodist University, I believe, South Methodist. I have no idea.
Whatever. Yeah, I think that's also in Dallas.
Yeah, I'm sure you know him. You probably
I
like.
think a friend of mine went to SMU, actually.
Is that so?
I think so. I think it's in Fort Worth, maybe? I don't know.
That sounds. I don't know. That sounds right.
Yeah.
Well, this game they also kicked ass as if it was a Dixie State because they made 7 straight shots to open up the game. So they were just on
Dang.
fire right away. They took a 23-6 lead. They finished the game shooting 56.1%, and they held the Mustangs to 37.7% shooting.
Adam, I have to ask you one question.
What's that?
I know you told me never to ask you questions this early in basketball, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing it.
Okay.
Did anyone average 1 point per minute?
Did anyone average 1 point per minute? Is the question you, my friend,
We
ask
need,
me.
you know how I am. I want to see 1 point for every minute of the game from every player.
That's right. From
Everyone
every
should be
player.
shooting at that intensity.
I can tell you that didn't happen. It's probably not going to happen ever. But let's see if anyone did that. Let's see, 35 minutes. So no, a lot of the players who played the most, like Eric Williams, Jacob Young, they got 19 points, 18 points respectively. Will Richardson got 18 points, but they played a lot. Will Richardson played 20 minutes and got 18 points. Pretty damn close.
So what 18? How many minutes are in a total game?
40, my man.
40, not 45?
No.
Okay, so 18. Okay.
I'll like no one got your insane benchmark.
They got a quarter of a point per minute.
Maybe next time. Maybe against BYU
by 75%.
Maybe when in our comeback victory against BYU, which I'm recording this game, y'all, so I can give you a little bit more in depth, but not really that much. Because again, football season.
It's so fast.
Yeah.
There's so much basketball so quickly. It's too tough.
I hope we beat BYU because I don't want to lose to them. Ever. I hate BYU. Okay, now that's enough basketball notes. That's the basketball beat. Let's get into the stuff that Duck fans are really passionate about right now.
Oh, baby.
Right, because we love women's basketball. We love men's basketball. We love Dana Altman. We love Kelly Graves. We love the tall furs. Those tall ducky furs. Well, but right now, we're in week whatever. We're in the 10th game. We just got done playing the 10th game of the regular season, and the Ducks are 9-1. We're that much. 12-0. That's off the table.
Oh,
unfortunately, but we're that much closer to the end of the regular season, my friend.
Yeah, amen. And if I can say this, am I correct to think that the score at the end of this game was relatively the same as it was against the Huskies?
We scored more points against the Cougs, and the Cougs scored more points against us. So, and actually
relatively
the yardage,
the same distance, right?
No, the yardage was we allowed way more yardage from the Cougs. That was Husky offense is terrible though. It was a different beast. It was a different beast we were taming here.
Yeah.
And we took a different strategy. Well, you know what? Maybe we didn't take the same different strategy because really we just ran the damn ball. We just ran the damn ball.
Did we? I thought we. Well, I guess Anthony ran his ass off in the game.
Yeah, he did. They were saying after the game that it was all like, well, we adjusted because like they couldn't stop Anthony, and so we told him not to stop.
He reminds me of those early football players where he's like, "Give me the ball and I run, or I hand off and I block."
Well, you get it, man. Well, it's option football, baby.
Everything out there.
He's great. He went 17-22, 135 yards through the air. So that's obviously saying, he's not taking a lot of deep shots. They're also not asking him to take many deep shots because we don't.
He doesn't need to.
Because this was 38-24. You could argue should have been 45 points scored by the Ducks. We'll get into that.
Then you could also argue that they should have had an extra touchdown as well. So then it negatives out.
Let's get into these because these were interesting. And we
got some deeds.
Yeah.
Opening up of the game is like, boing, 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 boing.
Oh, it was like, okay, so this ain't bad. This is really good. This is really bad. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. This is looking really terrible is what I was trying to say. Because we got the opening drive here. Washington State starts at their own 20-yard line. Okay. 3-yard run for Max Borhe. Not bad. Borhe's a good runner,
Right.
Only a 3-yard run from him. Then next play, a 70-yard pass to Calvin Jackson Jr. 70 yards, just like boom. Okay, that's terrible.
And I was like, ugh.
Then they're at the 1st and goal at Oregon 7. Jaden DeLora gets pretty damn close, gets to like the 1-yard line. Jamal Hill, my man, Jamal downhill comes, whacks the hell out of him, makes him fumble the ball. The ball then, thank God it does this, it fumbles out of the end zone. We all know what that means after that terrible Stanford game, a year or two ago. It means
what a funny watching it too is like LOL.
Oh,
perfect,
yeah.
Perfect timing. All the cameras make it. It's just so beautiful. Watch.
It was funny as hell.
Yeah.
I mean, the cameras that we did get, because we'll get into this in conspiracy corner, but they're giving us the freaking, not the B crew, not the C crew, not the D crew, like the E crew, as they said. Like, this is terrible. Looks terrible. Rod Gilmore's there. It's all garbage. But okay, let's get into this though. So that was that first fumble you're talking about, and then it was kind of this game was sandwiched by bullshit fumbles because, of course, not quite sandwiched, but later in the game. Sorry, what the fuck is going on?
Are you talking about the fumble whenever he tried to run it in for a TD?
Yeah, which I would say, I mean, we're already here. This is Conspiracy Corner. Let's freaking get into it. I'm going to get a graphic for Conspiracy Corner.
Adam,
what's that?
You did notice the fog tried to come in during the game.
And it is your theory that when fog comes into play, much like when you see like deja vu in the Matrix, that is space-time continuum.
It's parallels, merging for moments. But this one was interesting because now, and this is maybe where the parallels divert, because some people may say that he did not get a touchdown, but I clearly remember the ball crossing the line, and they said in my reality, it was a touchdown.
Well, they did say it, and then they kind of, I mean, it was such bullshit because then they were kind of like, no, hold on, we got to look at before the review, because the review is to be like, first they have to have what was called on the field, and they call it, oh wait, no, it was a fumble, and they just changed that shit. Because again, everyone is against the Ducks. Everyone who isn't a Duck is against us, and you shouldn't trust them. You should cut them out of your life. Do not give them any information. Don't talk about the Ducks to people who aren't Duck fans, because you're giving them information that they're clearly using against us, like in this fog of war that came and turned what should have been an Anthony Brown touchdown, a damn fine Anthony Brown rushing touchdown. It turned it instead to a fumble. The Ducks were like shocked by that so much that they just allowed Washington State to just fly down the field, and I believe get a field goal, right? Which at least we stopped him, held him to a field goal. But yeah, absolutely. So what's your ruling on this as far as the conspiracy?
I blame the fog. For sure the fog had something going on there, because I'm telling you, I remember the touchdown happening, the points went on the board, but then the fog rolls in, and then all of a sudden they're talking about it like it never happened. So I'm saying, I don't know if it's a Mandela effect. I don't know where to go with this, but parallel universes cross in fog. That's all I know.
Well, that was probably the strangest thing about this game. Otherwise, this game actually did feel pretty kind of what a lot of us were expecting, in my opinion. Like Washington got some big plays out there. But overall, Ducks defense did what they did, pulled up enough big stops, turnovers. Overall, just like really got at Jaden DeLora. To the
really exciting game that we totally dominated the whole time.
It was 14-14 at the half, but I kind of get what you mean at the same time.
It didn't feel like it should have been. I mean, it didn't feel like it was 14-14 to me. It felt fine.
Well, let's talk about this too. And it was such that first fumble from Travis Dye And people are always going to bring up his gloves and such like that. His lack of gloves.
Right.
That really did change the mood a bit, change the momentum, and then same with the second one.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but honestly, here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have some kind of calm knowing that Anthony Brown Jr. is in charge of the ball. Like, this could be the exact same season 2 years ago, and I would be a nervous wreck because who would have control of the ball, and I'd never know what to expect. So,
you got a point.
these fumbles and stuff don't really bug me, I don't think.
Yeah, and I don't think, fumble. One that was a very questionable fumble, and then another one where it's like Travis Dye has had some trouble with fumble in his past, but I believe this is his first one of the season.
Yeah,
I believe.
I'm not bugged by it at all.
I'm not.
He's running like a monster, so
yeah, absolutely.
Everybody's only 99%.
Now let's get into, so you and I, this is just a few of our quick thoughts on this game, but to really break this down, we should bring on let's call him resident film
evil.
Well, he's already resident evil film reviewer. Is that his
Yes.
title? Quack 12 crony.
Resident, evil film reviewer.
So he's evil,
or he's a resident and an evil film
He's
reviewer.
reviewed some truly evil film at times.
Yeah,
like
everybody's pissed when he's right, and he's always right.
That when
Arizona, we've got him, baby.
When Arizona kicked Oregon's ass in, I want to say 2018, he reviewed that, and in that case, I would absolutely call him a Resident Evil film reviewer because that film was straight up evil. Anyways, what we're talking about is our dear friend Hyth, who writes for the website Addicted to Quack. Check out his articles, Duck Tape, in which he breaks down either last week's big duck game, or next week's duck opponent. They're really fantastic, include a bunch of clips and just really well-written breakdowns. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, our dear friend Hyth on the show. How's it going, buddy?
I'm well. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing all right. I did have. I'll bring this. I'll be a little real on it. I had. We were gonna record yesterday, but we had to postpone it because my girlfriend had some emergency surgery she had to do. Luckily, it was minor surgery, but I thought it was kind of interesting that it was actually exactly what Joe Moorhead had. She had to get an appendectomy, and I only really had just researched it because of this podcast. So it helped me out. Not really, but I thought that was interesting.
How interesting.
I knew it was like, okay, so the wait, the healing time is this, and like the general what it is and stuff.
She should be back to coaching in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, she should. Honestly, she should be able to help out on the field already. Like, at least call in and check out. So but we're doing a lot better now, and ready to talk about ducks. We're gonna just be warm and cozy in the house, which I'm excited for. And it was a fun weekend outside of that, I guess I should say. But Hyth, we're here to talk about a game that was fun to watch. I'm talking about a victory over the Washington State Cougars. A lot of us, those past beatdowns or those past upsets from the Cougs, when they beat us, they kind of get in your head and they make you afraid of an opponent, sometimes unreasonably. I don't think we were too afraid of a loss on this podcast.
Nah.
What did you think? You kind of called out in last week's article, and how did it line up to last week's duct tape? I guess I'm asking.
Pretty well. I mean, you're asking me to assess my own work and
grade yourself.
What are your? This is
I mean, I do that at the end of it. All my
exactly.
No, I mean, I put
accountability corner
section, and no, I mean, this game proceeded pretty much exactly as I expected. Wazzu's two strengths are that they could hit some explosive passes, and they tended to force a lot of fumbles. and we saw both of these in this game, and they were the reason why Wazzu was in it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been in it.
That is another moment. I have this pretty regularly. I would say every week. This is a testament to your work, where I just get a point at the screen and be like, "Oh, Hyth called that. I know that because of Hyth." I mean, and even Rod Gilmore and everyone was talking about it, that it was like Washington State, like the anomaly of how damn good they are at forcing and collecting fumbles, and they got 2 fumbles here, and one was, I mean,
they got 10 points off of those fumbles. So.
Yeah, exactly. Like it would have been such a blowout.
Not just 10 points, but the touchdown that Anthony Brown may or may not have scored, that means that was a 10-point swing. Plus, Oregon was in Wazzu territory when Dye fumbled the ball. Who knows how that would have gone if you assigned that as 3 points. Let's say that drive stalled out and they were going to kick a field goal. That's 3 points that then come off the board, and instead Wazzu gets 7. So that's combine those two, you got a 20-point swing in Wazzu's direction, right? And then on top of that, Wazzu, they tack on a garbage time touchdown. The score definitely could have been, real out of hand, right? Like this could have been something like a, 45-17, or more, kind of deal. But like, yeah, look, that's what Wazzu does. They have a very, aggressive defense. That's, their defensive front is full of light, fast bodies. In fact, that was actually the most interesting part of doing the film study, was picking out. Oregon had a dominant rushing performance. They almost always do. It's, as I think I said, weeks and weeks ago on this podcast, like if you can run the ball, that's it. The game's over. Like if you can consistently, both efficiently and explosively run the ball, then the game is 75% over. Because there's why do anything else? You can control the clock, you can keep the ball away from your opponent, you can starve them of oxygen so that they have to hit explosive passes, take high risk ventures, etc. The interesting thing doing film study, the only thing that really kind of surprised me, given my expectations of Wazzu, which were largely confirmed, in the game, and given my expectations of Oregon, which again largely confirmed in the game, is that there are several plays where Oregon runs the ball successfully, in the sense of like gaining enough yards, to keep ahead of the sticks. But they could have broken way more. They were like a 5 to 8 yard gain that could have been a 20 to touchdown, run. And the reason why they weren't is because of a backside block, right? Let's say the play is going to the left. Obviously the most important guys to block are on the left side, right? Because those are the guys who can stop you, immediately from getting a successful play. The second most important guys to stop are the guys on the backside, because those are the guys who are going to chase you down from behind, and prevent the play from going explosive. And Oregon was not consistently, anyway, getting their backside blocks, accomplished. So that would be like the right tackle, sealing off the defensive end on the right side to keep him from getting over to the left side of the, from the offensive perspective, to catch the back. And, and actually Wazzu, more than any other team that Oregon has played, was successful at getting off those backside blocks or just outrunning them and capturing the play. And so Oregon's explosive rushing rate was pretty good in this game. But they didn't break any like 70-yard runs, right? You didn't see any totally massive runs. And that was the reason why. And in sort of like, maybe paradoxically, only Wazzu can do that, because only Wazzu have players of that type. Only Wazzu constructs their defense with those super light players, because like they can't get big guys. Big guys are in such a premium that you're not going to attract those guys to the Palouse and get them to eat lentils and Cougar Gold and Bush Light all day. You're going to get
light, baby.
You're going to get a certain type of very light athlete who, they can't maintain those front side they can't get off those front side blocks, and so they're going to give up those 5 to 8 yard runs, but they can catch you from the backside, and they were actually doing a pretty good job of that. That was sort of the biggest surprise. The rest of the game proceeded exactly as I expected. Oregon was hitting basically efficiency passes, a couple of explosive ones. About a quarter of their passing game was, an adjunct to the run game because there were screens and RPOs, but they were hitting some downfield balls. Anthony Brown, as usual, has a couple of accuracy issues, but, mostly he was fine. Yeah. On the defensive side, Wazzu's offensive line simply could not withstand the pressure of Oregon's, pass rush. Oregon was actually doing a couple of interesting things on the defense where they were moving dudes around, like Kayvon Thibodeau and Braden Swinson, a couple other dudes who are normally outside linebackers. Like, they'd move them around to the inside of the line, just sort of like mess with Wazzu, which I always enjoy. Sort of like, watching that sort of like, there's the subtle stuff where they're like, this is just to screw with you. Like, I'm messing with your mind now. I enjoy those sorts of things. Wazzu doesn't have the ability because they don't field a tight end. They're always in 4 wide. Every single snap, they're in 4 wide, meaning 4 wide receivers. They have no real ability to like do what other teams have done, which is to double up on Kayvon Thibodeau, right? So like the best they can do is keep a back in, to help block him. But then they were moving Kayvon Thibodeau around, so that wasn't always an option. And frankly, Oregon's other pass rushers were all still better than Wazzu's line. Brandon Dorlus had a great game. Swinson had a great game. Adrian Jackson, I don't think it had any numbers, but you could tell from the film that he was, essential in a couple of, Oregon shut down their run game because they couldn't open any holes. Like, all of that, sort of proceeded as expected. And so, mostly this game was fairly comfortable, and then Oregon would fumble the ball and I'd be pulling my hair out. Exactly. Because God hates the Ducks, or whatever.
And it is funny how regular the random irregularities strike, like how it's just like, it seems like every game it's like, okay, Oregon's finally looking like they're pulling ahead, even if they were down in the beginning, and then it'll be like a fumble from someone who hasn't fumbled this season, or the refs coming in and
right. I mean, I don't I don't love discussing officiating. It's usually sort of an overblown aspect, and it's very easy for people to get into high dudgeon about it. You're just like, this is unjust. I am being persecuted by cosmic forces who are aligned against me. But
that's literally what we were talking about for 5 minutes before you hopped on this, is that there are cosmic forces coming against us and that the refs are cheaters. And
I don't really think that's true. I just think that, like, well, look, I do track this stuff. I don't like to publicize it, but, I keep track of it because I'm charting the game. I'm charting outcomes, and I have to figure out, why did a play that otherwise would have succeeded fail, or vice versa. And like, look, man, I track questionable calls, and the balance of questionable calls went in Wazzu's favor and not Oregon's favor. And this is, and that's been the case in many games that Oregon has played this year. There's just, it doesn't bear getting any deeper than that. I don't know if it's profitable for us to explore it, but if anybody is out there thinking that, like, boy, it sure seemed like a lot of calls went against Oregon that could have gone the other way and would have sustained drives or whatever, like, you're not wrong.
It's just like, aren't we supposed to be the evil, like, we pay off everybody? Like, isn't it supposed to be all following for, like, we're the playoff contenders? Well,
right?
Aren't the calls supposed to be in
look,
our
if
favor?
Oregon played in the SEC and Oregon enjoyed the position in the SEC that it does in the Pac-12, then I have a feeling that a lot of those wouldn't have.
We're in Eugene and we can't even get the calls to fall in our favor. I'm saying pay off these refs more.
I think there are other conferences who put their thumb on the scale a little more than the Pac-12 does.
Absolutely. So, like you said, when the run game is doing what it's doing, when Byron Cardwell gets 9 carries for 98 yards, 2 touchdowns.
He had a couple that were like really impressive runs, like the sort of like patience and vision that you expect.
there's one in particular that I believe they showed the replay of too. That was, I forget if it was touchdown run or not, where he's waiting so damn patiently for those blocks to set up.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's not what you expect to see out of a freshman. It's stuff that Diane Verdell, took years in order to do, and he's doing it, first time out. And it's it's very encouraging for.
Are you getting enough tape on him where you're being like I'm excited for this dude to be RB1, maybe not 1A even, just RB1.
I mean, we saw it a little bit in the game prior, and then we saw it, usually, I think I've said this in the past, I try not to get excited about a single game performance, because anybody could just anybody on any given day can just wake up and eat their Wheaties and just have a great game out of nowhere, and you try not to get too excited about it. It's just not, it doesn't work out that way. But you see it twice, you see it a third time, you're sort of like, okay, yeah.
Speaking of which, speaking of regularly seeing dominance, duck dominance, Travis Dye just being amazing. I mean, it's like when we get into your roster reviews, Hyth, when we get to the players where, okay, everyone knows this guy, everybody loves this guy, even if you're not part of this fan base, this is the one guy from this team. There's a lot of times there's not much to be said, because you're like, yeah, that guy can catch the ball well, that guy can run very fast, he's good scoring touchdowns. It's kind of getting to that way with Travis Dye, where he's just been consistent. 18 carries, 88 yards, 1 rushing touchdown, 6 receptions for 25 yards, I wrote rushing touchdown again, but really it was reception. And then he actually led the team in receptions. And, I guess we are, I don't know, we are a podcast that loves our drama. So I guess I should bring up that there's also like a tweet from Micah Pittman. I forget what he even said, something about disrespected or something. Some people have extrapolated that that's because of, maybe the fact that he had, 0 targets in this. And that, the offense, like you said, is more focused on why stop a running game that's working this well to take a chance throwing the ball. There's nothing really I want you to say about the drama. I guess I just had to bring it up.
Pittman's got drama?
Yeah, well, I'll
who cares?
Who cares?
I mean,
is the right answer. Yeah,
I guess. I mean, if somebody's not happy, then they're not happy. That it's not like Oregon doesn't have a pretty full wide receiver room. I just can't comment on his mindset or what he meant by that. All I do is watch film. I guess what I can say is this: that, two things. The run game doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens, because, you can't go 100% run. The defense will adjust to that in a way, they'll take it away. You have to at least present a credible threat of the passing offense, which, Oregon did in this game, and credit to the wide receivers. They were catching the balls. Credit to everybody who caught a ball. There were several long passes. Chris Hudson caught a long pass to Johnny Johnson, and
John Johnson led with the yards, 3 receptions for 43 yards, and actually it's seemingly out for the season. Is kind of.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure we've gotten confirmation on that.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure whether we're in just rumor territory, but it seems like he may be missing some time just from
I mean, that'd be unfortunate. I think he's out of eligibility. If he's done for the rest of the year, that'd be a hard way to find that out. But just to be totally mercenary about it, Oregon's got a very full wide receiver room. This isn't 2019 or 2018 where one dude getting injured and significant hit to the production.
It's all on Brendan Schooler's shoulders.
Devin Williams had a great game, and here's the other thing I can tell you from watching film. The other thing the wide receivers do for a dominant run game is they block downfield. They block and on screen passes, and RPOs, which are part of the part of that entire offensive approach. Those guys are blocking, and I can tell you, which guys are blocking well and which guys aren't. Here's the really crazy thing about Micah Pittman is that the first half of the season that he was just terrible. In perimeter blocks. it's usually the case that the older receivers are better at blocking, and the younger receivers, take some time, and so like he was the only anomaly, is like a guy who'd been around for a couple of years was blocking like a guy who'd been around for a couple of years. And then in the UCLA game, he totally turned it around, and he was, and literally, I'm not kidding about this, every block that I've recorded for Micah Pittman since the UCLA game has been a high quality block. And so, nice. if I social media aside, if you asked me, and I didn't know anything about social media, I didn't know anything about any comments or his dad or whatever. Like, if all you did was ask me based on the film, do you think that Mike Pittman is like a dude who's totally bought into this program and does whatever it takes, even though he's not catching balls? I would have said, hell yeah, this dude totally turned it around. So that's, and probably would be my number one case for a dude for whom, the light went on. But so beats the hell out of me.
It's complete speculation. I think the tweet's down even, so Cristobal is probably like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, keep in mind, we're also talking about like 19-year-old kids.
I would Micah Pittman, I hope you're doing fine. I hope you're doing all right out there. We know you're a long-time watcher here.
He's just frustrated. He'll get over it and figure it out.
I think so. I mean, a natty would help a lot of things, Anthony Brown Jr. Why I did that, I don't know, but there you go. 17 of 22 for 135 yards, 1 touchdown, 17 carries for 123 yards, and a rushing touchdown. Probably should have been 2 rushing touchdowns. I get what you mean, Aaron. That Anthony Brown is kind of nice to have a dude that's very reliable. You know what I mean? Like he like, and we've been saying this too, that part of that reliability is that he's gonna have some ugly throws in every single game. But I mean, this time he was 17 to 22. Hey, I mean,
amazing.
Sure. I love that when. It's always when something real bad happens, like I think it was Travis Dye's fumble or something. Like they usually get, or sometimes it'll be something he did, like he really messed up. They show him, and he looks like his expression looks like, I've hung out with friends, like I've watched Duck games, say the Alamo Bowl where we, this embarrassing loss, and it was really hard to watch. I've had friends who don't care about sports. I had one in particular watch that game with me, and he was just watching it because he thought it was so funny how like crushed I was watching this thing. And he was just kind of like smiling and just like, oh wow, this is crazy. Like Anthony Brown kind of has that energy when something terrible goes on with the Ducks, and I kind of really like it. Like he's just kind of like chilling on the sideline as if he's just watching the game, as if he wasn't part of like what just went wrong.
Yeah, you just gotta move past it. Keep going.
He's
forward.
Calm as hell.
Next
he's just
play.
like, well, I'll score next drive. Like, I really like his calm energy. It really does. Compared to like last season, I don't want to shit on Shuck, but Shuck looked horrified. Even with the lead, like that dude looked scared back there quite a bit. I don't blame him. I'd be horrified too. But Shuck. You already forgot about him, Tyler Shuck, or last year?
Yeah, I guess I did.
Wow, man. Here's a question actually for Aaron. Aaron, is Anthony Brown your favorite Oregon Duck quarterback of all time?
So far.
Okay, well, it's not a good answer. But
I mean, look at our track record so far with him.
I guess you could
look
be
at
like
where our rankings are with him.
Let's take a Hyth example. If you had 2 baskets, one basket was Oregon quarterbacks who have beaten Ohio State, and one was Oregon quarterbacks who haven't, there'd only be one quarterback in that good one, and that'd be Anthony Brown. So there you go.
Really set up Hythloday to only have one opinion, I feel like.
I don't know. I don't think Hythloday thinks Anthony Brown Jr. is Oregon's greatest quarterback.
I don't think he probably is, because obviously his skill sets could get us to the playoffs, but I don't see us going to the championship.
No, I don't.
Because of that percentage he lacks on deep balls and blah, blah, blah. There's a ceiling for sure.
I think
But
you put it
I
pretty
do
well.
feel like he could go play for the NFL for some team,
Maybe
like the Raiders or something,
yeah. Well,
or the Seahawks. I'll take him up here, man.
I mean,
Maybe
he's
Russell's done.
I don't know. Geno Smith and Anthony Brown. I don't know. They're looking pretty similar, kind of. I guess. I mean, Geno Smith's been late, but we're not talking about the Seahawks. We're not talking about Geno Smith. Back to what we're talking about. We beat the freaking Cougs. It feels great.
Oh,
What's that, Aaron?
one other thing that we should celebrate while we're all together: Huskies coach.
Oh yeah, we didn't bring it. Jimmy Lake is gone. Jimmy Lake is fired.
I love it.
We did it. We did it. We beat another Washington coach. We made them quit or get fired. And I hope Cristobal keeps doing that.
Yeah.
That's nuts. I'm sure Gaby's happy. How could you not be, right? If you're a Washington fan. I don't know. What's there to say about this game? Does anyone have any more notes about this game? I was kind of just relieved as hell that it was over, honestly, by the time it ended. That's how I felt.
I one more comment, which is, we've talked a bit about how the injury situation at inside linebacker and safety
Yes.
had been affecting Oregon. I think a couple of guys have really stepped up. Jeff Bassa, the safety converted to linebacker, I think has been getting better every week, and played a pretty good game this time out. I'm still noting a couple of problems, but played pretty well. I'd take Jeff Bassa over many of the starting inside linebackers at the other Pac-12 schools, frankly.
Yeah, well, that's impressive. Yeah.
And Steve Stevens appears to still be injured at the safety spot, and his job's been filled by Jordan Happel, who, not like I was ever in love with Jordan Happel's athleticism. In 2020, I did not have a whole lot of positive things to say about the guy. And on top of that, he's been playing the last couple of games with the club on his hand, and somehow it's turned him into the greatest safety that Oregon's ever had. I don't understand, man.
He gets the Brady Breeze Award if he ends strong against Utah. He is absolutely the Brady Breeze of this season.
It's pretty remarkable. I take a lot of pride, and I set as the goal for myself to accurately predict everybody's contributions to the team, and where the vulnerabilities and strengths are in opponents. But I'm inevitably going to miss on a couple. I would not have predicted this of Jordan Happel. Not in a million years would I have predicted this of Jordan Happel. He played a great game, and he played a great game last week, and many happy returns in the future. I wish him.
Yeah, and so while we're on the topic, I believe I've heard rumor that Jackson LeDuc may be back for next week. Do you think that's something that fans will immediately kind of notice seeing him on the field, or
it's hard to say because I've seen those rumors too, but we don't know is okay, does that mean he is finally healthy enough to be cleared to practice, but he hasn't practiced yet? Because if that's the case, if he's missed 10 weeks worth of practice,
right?
I would don't plug him in. He's just not going to be as sharp as yes, they're backups, but they're backups who've been playing for 10 weeks, if on the other hand, he has been cleared for a couple of weeks now and has been practicing, and what they're saying is, or what this rumor means is that, oh no, now he's actually ready to play. And because he's actually a linebacker, a ready to play Jackson LeDuc is going to be better than has been practicing, but is still a converted safety and a true freshman, Jeffrey Bassa, then you would notice that. It's still the case that those backups are the weak link, in Oregon's defense. As many positive things as I have to say about them, because it's remarkable to be able to say positive things about them, it is still the case that they're the weak link. And if you can shore that up, so much the better.
Let me ask if sorry, Aaron, really quickly, with Bassa, let's say everyone gets healed up, everyone's back next season, suddenly both of those spots are less dire. Which position do you think actually fits in better, safety or linebacker, I suppose?
if you're waving a magic wand to heal every injury that Oregon has, that means that Justin Flo is back in action, in which case you play Justin Flo at inside linebacker.
True,
And if that means there's no more room at inside linebacker and Jeff Bossa has to go back to being a safety, then great, Oregon needs more safeties. Unfortunately, saying that you've got a magic wand and everybody's going to be fixed is probably fantasy. We just kind of have to play that one, as it comes.
Aaron, I believe you had a question.
Oh yeah. We play the Utes next week, right?
Indeed.
That's right.
What from this game, Washington State, are things that concerned you going? What things could make us not do great against the Utes that you saw in this past week?
Well, the best part of what Utah does is similar to the best part of what Wazzu does, which is hit explosive passes. And so the fact that Oregon was giving up some explosive passes makes me think that they'll probably give up some explosive passes against Utah. The rest of it, no concerns. I will publish my Utah article when I publish my Utah article, but Utah has all the same vulnerabilities that they had in 2019. It is structurally a very, very similar team. And even though their quarterback is a different guy, surprisingly, their quarterback plays football in a very similar way to Tyler Huntley. And they're reliant on literally the same tight ends in their passing game. They're reliant on a different, their human beings are different. They have different social security numbers, but their style of running is the same, in terms of their running backs. Their offensive line has the same, strengths and weaknesses. Their defensive structure is identical. The way that they use their linebackers is identical. You were looking at a very, very similar team, to 2019, and
Sure.
Hopefully similar results.
Just probably be a similar outcome as the Washington.
No, the different team is Oregon. Oregon is much more different. There are more differences between Oregon 2021 and Oregon 2019 than there are differences between Utah 2021 and Utah 2019. And the question is on what stuff is Oregon gotten better at, what stuff are they not as good. I think it's probably the case that in terms of downfield passing ability, Oregon is not as good in 2021 as they were in 2019. Justin Herbert versus Anthony Brown. I think that Oregon's linebacker play is probably worse in 2021 than it was in 2019 because of the injury issues that we have discussed. And obviously Oregon's running a different scheme, and how exactly that's going to mesh with Utah's defensive scheme. They're running a different defensive scheme, and how that meshes with Utah's offensive scheme is going to be different. So those are difficult things to predict. I will do my best on my Friday article, but Utah's not going to, for everybody who familiarized themselves with Utah in 2019, you're not going to see any surprises from that team on Saturday. The question is just going to be how Oregon interfaces with it. I will say this. This is the only thing I'm going to say about Utah. You're going to have to read my article for the rest of it.
Aaron, read his article.
The defense that Oregon has played this year, that Utah's defense reminds me the most of, is Ohio State.
Oh, and that was good for us. I don't know. Well,
Utah has
excited,
rules. Yeah. That's the thing. Utah, their defensive scheme has rules. And unlike, say, Arizona, a team that gave Oregon some trouble, where Don Brown is like, there are no rules, man. I'm going to try to cloud everything. That dude looks like the opposite of a hippie, but is the most wavy gravy dude that Oregon has played. He's got a push broom mustache. Anyway,
wavy gravy.
Utah,
they have rules.
Utah, like Kerry Coombs at Ohio State, has rules. It's it's a computer program, and they publish their code. And Joe Moorhead's a hacker.
Yeah, baby. I love it. I'm stoked as hell. My last little thought on this game before we get into our next segment here is just I just want to say, like Jeffrey Epstein's jail cell.
Wow.
I find it very, very convenient. There's no camera right where we need it the most when Anthony Brown was crossing that line. There's no particular camera there for the exact same reasons. I'm just going to say that. All right, now let's get into this next segment in which we talk about the rest of the Pac-12.
Hey, wait.
What's that? Let's hear it.
I'm so sorry I derailed the whole thing because this is what they should do. Just put friggin' GPS trackers on each end of the flipping ball. Then put GPS points on the stoop. Since if it crosses the threshold, with the white line.
You and I have had this discussion so many times. We both agree. We both don't know why the actual technological. There must be some kind of hang up. Like maybe the ball wouldn't quite be thrown the same way.
Just put a little dot on there
aerodynamically. I mean, I agree in theory, but for some reason they don't, and there must be a reason why. And I think it's because conspiracy, personally.
Because people are getting paid off to make bullshit calls. Because if you put GPS things in the football, then you don't need referees anymore. The only thing
then the whole system comes
is just calling when somebody's being an asshole.
Exactly.
Precise geospatial tracking wouldn't resolve the fumble question, because the precise geospatial tracking would not tell you when possession is gained and lost.
That's true.
You still have to have a camera to track that.
But you could watch it in real time. Did this dot ever match that dot and then did it go like that? That's all you need to know is real time tracking. So you can just like I have on DoorDash, bro.
I think we need Mentat technology. Is that available to us yet? That's right. I watched Dune in theaters.
Done in virtual.
I don't think the problem is the referees are not processing information quickly enough. I think the issue is that they don't have a full and complete set of information, because the game is not photographed from as many angles as it could be due to the way that stadiums are constructed, vagaries of economics, the fact that ESPN shits all over the Pac-12.
You sound like the CIA right now, man. Okay.
All right. We officially burned that subject to the ground.
Well, we'll see y'all next week for whatever conspiracy. It's been interesting that every single week suddenly our segment Conspiracy Corner we've had something to talk about every damn week.
It's like when you buy a yellow Ford Focus and then all of a sudden everyone has a yellow Ford Focus.
Okay. Anyways,
off the juice of Sappho.
Yep.
The Pac-12, the rest of those motherfuckers, they're called
Bottom 11.
That's right. It's the Bottom 11, in which we talk about the other Pac-12 schools. Let's start it off with Utah versus Arizona. Now, obviously, Arizona is an underdog against everyone, even when the other team's missing 25 players on their squad. Well, this time they're going against a fully formed and operational Utah Death Star. They were in Tucson, however, and that desert magic still came up. Not enough to fully get rid of the Baron Harkonnen, but enough to really cause some chaos there. Because 38-29, the Utes win this. However, it was closer than that even. This was a competitive game. Partially,
it was a 2-point game in the fourth quarter. Arizona went for a 2-point conversion. They could have tied the game up. Yeah,
that's right. And partially because of, I believe, a blocked punt for a score. I somehow was able, every single time I flipped on this game, it was just like, oh, Utah's looking pretty dominant. I don't want to watch this anymore. Or I had to do something else. I would miss some crazy magic in which Arizona somehow scored points. Like they would just have a slew of points. I would come back and look boring again. I just missed every good thing in this game. How was Arizona? I assume you watched this game today.
I have done film study on this game, yes.
How was Arizona able to, I mean, I know there's again, we said a blocked punt, but like able to keep this competitive offensively? How are they able to score so many points on this?
They were hitting passes, which is really stunning. It's stunning for a lot of different reasons. Will Plummer, I thought was probably the worst quarterback in the Pac-12. He was hitting some passes, dude.
He was one of the worst quarterbacks. Some people were saying on Arizona, like he wasn't fighting for the squad. Like,
yeah, sure. Utah, one of their cornerbacks suffered an injury in the first quarter, and the backup's a freshman. He had played previously during the year. He's not totally inexperienced, but Arizona's kind of picking on him. Kind of surprisingly, Arizona was not. Arizona had a couple of big runs, but Utah's pass defense is better than their rush defense. And Arizona has a couple of games like against Washington and against USC, for example, where they ran the ball a million times. And so you might be tempted to think that like, oh, this must have been a game where Arizona ran the ball a million times and didn't pass so much and avoided, their strength the same way they sort of played against Washington, right? Nope, it's actually the reverse. They actually didn't run the ball very effectively, but they hit a bunch of, big passes. Part of it is, like I said, their cornerback is injured. Part of it is because Utah, they can get home when they blitz. They can't get home when they don't blitz. When they only bring 4, they couldn't get through Arizona's offensive line. Arizona's offensive line is not very good. And that's sort of a big concern for Utah. So this is basically it. And then their offense was sort of, Arizona's offense is run by Andy Ludwig. I'm not wild about it. It is entirely dependent on their quarterback's ability to scramble, and scrambling is kind of capricious. Cam Rising, in a lot of other games, scrambled very effectively. In this game, only moderately so. And so, a couple of their drives stalled out because he wasn't able to scramble for a first down. I think I've made my thoughts on Andy Ludwig pretty clear.
You're not a fan. I think you hate him, actually. The things I'd like to circle that you said that make me very happy as a fan of a team that's about to play these Utes is aren't very good against the run. That made me very happy.
Not that they're bad against the run. It's that the worst thing they do is defend the run.
Okay.
The Oregon's played teams that have worse rush defenses. They played Washington, which has like world historically bad rush defense. But like, if you have to find a vulnerability in what Utah does, it's run the ball against them.
And then people watching this on YouTube, you're seeing some pretty trippy shit that Aaron's doing right now because apparently he's bored. But and then the other thing that made me very happy about this is just hearing the idea that they can't get much offensive success without some scrambling typically. Is because any team that needs their quarterback to be upright for a certain amount of time to have success, that just makes me very happy when we have Kayvon Thibodeau, and just a solid defensive line.
I mean, yes, always an advantage, although a guy who's slippery and can get out of that is often frustrating to a team that has a good pass rush. I guess I'd put it this way, that like, I just, not specific to Utah, not specific to this particular team or to Cam Rising or to anything, just a, general philosophy of mine is that like, I think I've made this metaphor in the past, is like, if your favorite restaurant screws up your order once, but it's a happy accident, then that's fun. If they keep screwing up your order, if you keep having to scramble, and in fact, if your restaurant is dependent on you keep screwing up people's orders, but you keep accidentally giving them stuff that they want, like that's a big problem. Like that's, there's health code violations in that kitchen, and they're not paying the servers. Like I am not a big believer in teams that are heavily dependent on quarterback scrambles. Like an occasional scramble is good. It shows that the quarterback has mobility and can get out of danger and sort of create some plays because inevitably some of that's going to get through. But if a significant part of your offense is scrambling, teams for whom that is true include Cal, include UCLA, include Arizona State. Ask those teams how their season's going. Successful football teams, the quarterback looks like Tom Brady, or they look like a option quarterback where they're
even
with it. They do what the
Brown,
offense calls, playing outside of the structure of the offense has diminishing returns. Playing within the structure of the offense, whatever that structure may be, is how you win championships.
And that is the clear difference when you look at like a Dorian Thompson-Robinson or Jaden Daniels and like what Anthony Brown's doing. Like when Anthony Brown's running, even if it does look like it's a little bit of a broken play, it does feel so much more like in the structure of something. I mean, obviously
he had 3 of them in this game. He had, I think he had like 13 designed carries. I could look that number up, but in fact, I will while I'm yammering. He has, look, I have it right here. The number is, he had 13. Yes, that's why I remember, because his jersey number is 13. He had 13 designed carries. He had 3 scrambles. That's a good ratio.
Yeah.
Only having 3 scrambles on, let's count how many dropbacks he had. Non-screen, it's 26. Right? 3 scrambles out of 26 is a good scramble number.
Mm-hmm.
Like 50% scrambles is a bad scramble number. It means that your offensive line is breaking down. It means that you're playing out of the structure. It means that you're not getting explosive plays. It means that your quarterback is going to be exhausted. Like, these are not good things. And teams that are overly reliant, and fans love it. Fans love a scrambling quarterback, right? It's like, oh my God, I was so excited watching that, right? It's just like, dude, this is heroin. Like,
they love a scrambling quarterback when it's big play VA beating ASU or getting to overtime or whatever it was. They hate it when you get to the Jameis Winston fumble and anything's on the table.
There's sort of a history of that, of teams that are sort of like out ahead of their skis because they have a quarterback who's playing out of the structure, and then they play a team that makes them pay for it.
Yeah,
and it's November for Utah.
Ooh, I'm stoked as hell, which means we're gonna lose. USC versus Cal did not happen, so forget about it. I think it's pushed back. I think it's like after.
Yes, it'll be played the same week as the Pac-12 championship game because those teams are mathematically eliminated.
Yeah, they're like, neither are you going to be in it. So that's COVID related. I'm guessing
that's
Cal's
hilarious. They have to play during the Pac-12 championship.
Yeah,
I'm into it. More football.
Yeah, more football. I'm down. Pac-12
because otherwise there's only like 9 games happening that weekend, but now there'll be more.
I just love the idea of all these, big games of people like really caring for it, and then they're like, and you guys got to finish your season because you didn't finish with the rest of the class. You got to come in lunch and do this. Yeah. So that's happening, and then after that, Oregon State played Stanford. Now, this is Stanford that beat one of the best, the best team in the country. So obviously it's going to be competitive going against lowly Oregon State. Wrong. Apparently they can only beat the Ducks. The Beavers
eventually kept it a little more competitive. Like this, I mean, this was not Stanford versus Utah where it was over after 3 drives. Like,
that was brutal. 35-14 was the end score, but did take a while, and they showed some signs of life, but Beavers win.
Shit. I feel like I picked Stanford. Shit.
I kind of forget. We'll see. We'll see what you got.
Find out.
Picks. I'll tell you this much.
Yeah. So the Beavs go up. The Beavs go up 14-0 at halftime. And then they get a touchdown, pretty early in the 3rd quarter. But then Stanford gets a score, so it's 21-7, only a 14-point game. And then it's a while before Oregon State scores again. And then in the 4th quarter, they get another touchdown at 75-7. And Stanford tacks on a garbage time, touchdown. But it's like the game's not out of reach until relatively late. And honestly, look, if Oregon had not played Stanford to begin the year, and instead we're playing Stanford, here in week 11, and Oregon finished this game, with only a 21-point lead over this depleted, horrible, Stanford team that's down to like their 4th string quarterback and doesn't have any wide receivers and so forth and so on. If Oregon only got a 21-point score, people would be burning down the rafters, right? Like, why is Oregon only winning by this? Why was this still a competitive game in the 3rd quarter? They'd be screaming and crying. but because, let's face it, the expectations of these teams are different.
Yeah, that's true. Then Arizona State took on the Washington Huskies. Huskies had a healthy 14-point advantage for a good chunk of this game. It looked like they were really rallying, which made it so much sweeter when Arizona State steals it from them in the last minute, wins this bad boy 35-30. Not only that, but they even Washington gets another opportunity to maybe go down and score, and Dylan Morris does not have it in him. I believe I believe I saw some Sam Hewitt in this.
Yep.
Not much.
A couple of drives. Apparently it was a planned rotation, but then they immediately got away from the rotation because look, we shouldn't dump on Sam Hewitt. He's a kid. This is an awkward situation to be in. It's entirely possible that he comes out of this experience and he's stronger and is a good starting quarterback for them. But he is when we have seen him play in 2021, I am not ready to hand him the Heisman.
Yeah. No, I think he stinks.
He's bad.
Well, who knows? He's
on a bad team. I mean, he hasn't thrown an interception yet. The instant he throws an interception, Oregon Duck Twitter will go insane, right? Because he was going to go back to throw the ball, right? So that hasn't happened yet, but yeah.
Oh man, can you imagine if you were through pick 6 against the Ducks? Oh my god, that'd be so funny. Okay, so 35-30. It was kind of.
I mean, what's hilarious is that Arizona State is down 10 points, in the fourth quarter. And then they just very patiently score 3 consecutive touchdowns with 6 minutes to play.
Wow.
Wow. I mean, it was just I'm not a huge believer in Herm Edwards. I'm not a big, really into the conservative NFL, or whatever his mystique is. It seems to change from week to week, whatever people want to construct an identity around this guy. But that he was just calmly staring at Washington in their house and was like, no, we're going to score 21 points right now. And did it. I mean, I one of them's a pick 6, obviously, but they had already taken the lead at that point.
Oh, that's right. The pick 6 is what felt like it completely sealed it too. And
because Washington would have to score quickly, which
it just felt, damn, Washington's bad. And this was Jimmy Lake wasn't quite yet fired during this.
He was suspended, but not fired.
Wow.
Yeah. So Bob Gregory was coaching, and hopefully, when he wins the head coaching vacancy, I think he's got it.
Yeah, what adverse circumstance he's in. I really think he should win Pac-12 Coach of the Year. We should all vote for him. Absolutely. And I should, they should lock that dude down. He's going to be value. Look at all these teams that are firing their coaches and coordinators. He's going to be in high demand. Washington should lock down Bob Gregory right now.
If you don't want to see USC take Bob Gregory and just take the Trojans to 10 national championships in a row, you got to lock them down right now. So there you go. And then after that, UCLA versus Colorado. Looked like Colorado had them in the first half. And then they didn't.
Not going to lie.
And I remember we were I just listened to the last episode actually, and we were even talking about Hyth was like, I can't believe this, but UCLA, they're 17-point favorites. Vegas knows something. Apparently they knew something.
Oh yeah,
they completely knew something. Those Vegas bastards. 44-20. The Bruins win.
It's Colorado's winning 20-10 at halftime.
Yeah, 20-10. Yeah.
And then UCLA goes on a 34-0 run in the second half. Just Colorado. I mean, I don't ask me why this happened because I wasn't watching the second half. But Colorado just decided not to score points anymore.
Wow.
It would be more reassuring if they were terrible at offense, but they at least can hang their hat on their defense. But it's just shit like this, Colorado, what are you doing? And getting shut out by Minnesota, and just damn Colorado. damn. I really wanted them to go to a bowl game. They had to win this one to really, have a chance.
Yeah, no, they're eliminated. They've got 7 losses now, so
done so. I wanted like 9 Pac-12, bowl games. But
I mean, I'm looking at the second half drive chart, and it's punt, no good. Missed field goal, hey, at least they made some progress. A turnover on downs, well, I like that you have some energy. A punt return touchdown, meaning they punted and then UCLA took it back. That's no good. Then they turned over on downs again, then they fumble it, and some of this looks like sort of disaster striking. I don't know. I didn't watch it.
It does sound a little bit more like of eventually even a good defense is like, well, you got to just throw in the towel. Like your back gets broken eventually with that many terrible drives. So I don't even want to. I don't know. We got to get Jack Barsh to come and just we can be his therapists. Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to y'all. That's got to be tough. Then the Ducks won. And it was great, 38-24. Now, let's get into what we all really care about, which is how Aaron and I did in this week. The picks. Did I do it? I thought I did.
Can I do it? Can I do it?
Here we go. All right.
Can I do it? Can I do it?
So we got the great Pick'em Challenge here with our mascot, this beautiful duck warrior here, which people don't give us enough compliments on it. Social media, drop at Quack 12 Podcast. Great, doing a great job with the show. Also, we like your artwork. I would like that comment from some fan. The great Pick'em Challenge, that is right. Even though Aaron, we've been doing this for years, but he doesn't really pay attention to too much of what we're talking about, of the games we watch. Of any of this stuff. He's a true Duck fan. Maybe
I've been zoned out for 75% of this episode, man.
Oh, we know. We can see you. It's not subtle. Yeah, we can see you. We can see the whites of your eyes. But anyways, that being said, he's still somehow much better at picking college football than I am. Because what does that mean? I put so much effort into it.
Oh my
yeah,
I picked Oregon State and you picked Stanford. That's
so
hilarious.
We both picked Utah.
Your favorite team.
California, I picked USC. You picked that doesn't matter. I went with Stanford, not my favorite team. You went with them Beavs. I went with ASU. You Washington. I UCLA. You Colorado. Then I chose Wazzu to beat the Ducks because I thought I could get an advantage there, or at least make myself feel better. As y'all know, though, Adam didn't do so well because, actually, I didn't do too bad, and Aaron did equally as bad, which overall is good for the Schroeder cause because that means I'm getting 3 points. Aaron's getting 3 points, which means, yes, the lead remains at 5 points. Aaron's got 45. I've got 40. Which I don't know. It's what the fuck's wrong with me, to tell you the
truth? I really
what?
think too that it's about to really this week I feel really right.
Oh, is that so?
I do.
I'm almost tempted to just pick every single one you do. I know that doesn't help me, but just to prove how wrong you are, drag us both down.
Sure.
But that's not what's going to happen. Aaron, we've got 6 games to pick. The whole Pac-12 slate here. We're going to start on Friday at 6 p.m. Of course, on the Pac-12 network, Arizona at Washington State. Who you got, my man? Obviously,
Washington State.
Immediately. Why is that?
Anti-Arizona, Adam.
Anti-Arizona, that's right.
It's the year of the...
Damn, this is actually... Arizona is a hard one to figure out because they're trying despite their lack of goddamn near everything. Washington State, that was a tough loss. I still think they're... I don't know what the hell I think. I know what I think. I think I'm behind 5 points, so I'm going with Arizona. God damn it. Hyth, do I got a shot at winning this week?
I mean, it's the Pac-12, so yes. But no, Wazoo's a better team than Arizona is. Wazoo's also got bowl eligibility on the line. Like they're
very true.
They're 5-5 right now, and they've got Washington in the Apple Cup for the last game. So like probably not a good idea to go into that 5-6 and need an Apple Cup win for the first time in like a decade, to get to a bowl. So I think they're probably going to be pretty focused up for this game.
That makes sense. And I mean, yeah, they got enough weapons and are enough of a team in every, like a part of the team. I don't know. They're going to beat the
Wildcats, it's the Pac-12. It is entirely possible that Arizona wins this by 12 points, like
Arizona almost beat Utah, like was competitive against Utah. So who knows? Arizona was competitive against the Ducks.
Or, Arizona's been competitive in almost every game that they played.
Like even against
some of them are teams that they shouldn't be competitive with. Like Northern Arizona. But I mean, it's like it's not like Arizona's a real easy out. Arizona is like here's a politics metaphor. Arizona is sort of like the state of Alabama. Like Alabama always votes red in presidential elections, right? Like it's super consistent. It's never going to vote blue in presidential elections. That doesn't mean that 100% of the voters in the state of Alabama are red voters, right? It's like 55-45, or 60-40. I forget exactly what the number is. Whatever. It's like every time it's a contest against Arizona, it's just they're going to lose that contest every time, but it's a contest.
Yeah, there you go. Except it's all rigged. That's for next week's conspiracy corner. No, I'm joking. Washington. So there you go. I'm going with Arizona. Hope they win. I've been rooting for Arizona like every goddamn week. Your hatred of Arizona, the state of Arizona, is turning me into an Arizona fan.
I totally get the hatred of Arizona for Arizona State because that program's like got some problems, man. And is sort of like obnoxious in other ways. Let's not get into those. But like there's a lot more to worry about in a good Arizona State team than a good Arizona team. Like Arizona, like. Man, I have to admire Jed Fish. Like those guys are, have nothing to play for, and yet they play real hard every week. Like they play harder than a lot of other teams in the Pac-12 who have a lot more advantages than they do.
Oh, absolutely. Then speaking of having more advantages but playing weak ass football, the Washington Huskies are going to Boulder to take on Colorado. I mean, we're a Duck podcast. We all know who we want to win, but who does Aaron think is going to win?
Well, this one's interesting because I have a little insight on this actually, which is that for multiple days this past week, the University Bridge was stuck in the open position.
Okay.
This leads me to believe that had some kind of psychological impact upon the team being able to move easily from wherever they live to the practice field, so on and so forth. Also, they're away. Colorado grows better bud. Going to Colorado.
That's a tall claim. You think Colorado grows better bud?
Probably not. It's honestly all equivalent.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it is.
I will tell you this. I like that Colorado has a higher selection of local brew beers and everything's not just an IPA.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
So for these reasons, I'm going with Colorado.
Okay, well then that puts me in the terrible position of going with your Washington Huskies. Actually, this will be kind of an interesting game to see because it's just like who's more desperate, really. I guess Washington can still make a bowl game, correct, with 2 wins. I think.
I forget where they're at.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad that we're not petty enough where we don't even look it up. See, standings. Let's see.
They're 4-6. So
yeah, so they got. I mean, they're still. I mean, Colorado, I could see being just like, oh fuck, this sucks. But Washington, they still can do it.
You think they got it in them?
I mean, I don't think either of these teams got it in them, but one team has to have it in them. Like someone has to win, so someone will win.
By the law of averages, someone
Yeah.
has to win.
And with Colorado's, Jesus Christ, really thinking about this game, whoever wins, the score is going to be 6-0. Like it's going to be terrible.
Sure.
They're just going to like shut shit down for both sides. I don't know. I hope either one. I don't even know who would be favored in this one, honestly.
I mean, Washington's favored.
Are they? Okay.
I would not be surprised at all if Colorado just wins this straight up. Like,
no.
I mean, like, I don't know. Colorado's looked pretty good in the last couple of weeks, and Washington looked pretty bad in the last couple of weeks. Like, you know, now when I say bad, I mean bad for how Washington should be performing with their talent. And when I say good for Colorado, I mean better than how they, you know, I would expect them to be performing given how atrocious they were performing at the beginning of the year. You know, these are relative terms, and you shouldn't, you know, fool yourself and think, you know, a good team performing under expectations means they're bad. You know, like you shouldn't make the lines cross just because that's, you know, the direction they're pointing. Anyway, but if Colorado wins this game, you know, it's not my job be on the floor. Like, it can totally happen. And the problem is that both these teams are terrible at everything. Like they're, you know, if you pull up their advanced, you know, box score, it's just red across the board with the exception of Washington's pass defense. But it's not like Colorado wants to win the game by throwing the ball a million times and oh no, now they can't. You know, like, you know, Washington versus Washington State in the Apple Cup next week. That's a game where I can definitely see Washington having a big edge because the only way that Wazzu ever gets anywhere is throwing the ball, and Washington's probably going to shut that down. You know, but like this game, like, have you watched Jarek Broussard? Like, that dude's the defending Pac-12 player of the year for a reason, you know, like entirely possible the Colorado just runs all over him.
I'm going to say if Neuer were still on that team, they'd be undefeated. Okay. UCLA at USC, 1 p.m. on Fox. USC coming off basically a bye week. UCLA, I don't know. They beat Colorado. Chip Kelly ain't fired.
Okay.
What are you going with?
I feel like I've stuck with them all year. I feel like I've been too mean to Chip Kelly all year. So I have to go with USC because I don't want to counteract myself by saying I think Chip Kelly will win this game.
You're doubling down yet again. I'm feeling good with that then because I could see UCLA winning. I mean, I could see them losing, but USC has looked pretty damn hapless on offense. But
I think they're gonna do it this time.
I think UCLA is gonna win.
I mean, it would be hilarious. It would be absolutely hilarious if USC, who's just looked terrible all year, just decides to smash UCLA.
This will be the classic underdog story. Win it at the end.
Yeah, USC's big underdogs
with a field goal. To be up by 1, and that's how they win.
That game would suck. That game's gonna suck.
The game
UCLA at UC. There you go.
6-5 somehow.
I'm feeling good actually. I think you're giving me. I mean, you gave me Washington, UCLA.
I didn't give you that. Colorado's gonna win.
If Arizona gets the upset, I'm going 3-0. Start off.
No, USC's gonna win. Colorado's gonna win. These are obvious things.
California at Stanford.
See,
Battle of the brains. Battle for the axe. Am I right? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
That's right.
Well, it's called the big game, but the trophy is the Stanford Axe.
Big game. The big game. California at Stanford, 4 p.m. Pac-12 Network. Bunch of nerds are going to be looking at each other dead in the eye, with an axe in between them. Just so ready to take that and return it home or whatever. I do love that tradition. I don't want to shit on it too much. Who you going
Cal's
with?
Cal's going to win.
Cal.
Yep.
Aaron, I think your mad genius has finally worn off because Cal ain't winning.
Am I freaking bad?
Stanford sucks.
I'm going with the universe right now. I'm sorry. I'm flying in the universe, and we're going with it.
Cal is coming off 2 weeks ago. They were down 25, and lost to Arizona, a team that hadn't beaten a team in
right.
a couple of years. Then they miss their whole week after that. So I guess you could say they got a bye. I think those 2 weeks has just fucked with them too much. And that even somehow Stanford can pull this off. Even Stanford.
No, I think that's exactly why they're going to win. They're going to be so
well
friggin'
rested,
pumped up.
I don't think they're well, maybe, but I mean, yeah, I think you got a point that there could be like some energy that's been building up, like like Garbers has outspoken, frustrated that he hasn't been able to play these games. He could just be like, I'm ready to go, especially a rivalry.
Yeah. Let me put it to you like this.
Okay.
The gold in them Bears will blind Stanford.
Well, here I don't know. I was gonna try to do a
and
card
in true Berkeley fashion. Let the sun shine.
Wow. Okay. I think
on the gold.
This
and it'll blind
podcast
Stanford.
is off the rails. I get Stanford, sure. Hyth, if you had to bet money on this, who are you betting?
No, Cal, obviously. Are you kidding?
Really? I don't know. There's a lot. It's tough. It's only because it's Stanford.
My jaw dropped.
I mean, have you watched Stanford play the last couple of weeks?
Yeah. And I've been burned over and over by being.
I mean, the only reason
Stanford's
that Cal,
bad, but they're not that.
The only reason that Cal doesn't win this game is because they are not back to having all of their personnel available. But if don't hold this against me if it turns out like Chase Garbers and half the team is still out. But assuming that they are back to their normal, strength, and Stanford is at the strength that they have played after the last couple of weeks, which, let's be fair to Stanford, they're down a lot of important personnel. I'm just, trying to, let's be fair to the predictors and give them an adequate crack at saying what the roster is going to be. Cal's roster, if it's what we expect it to be, and Stanford's roster, if it's what we expect it to be, Cal should win this in a walk. Like, it shouldn't even be close.
Damn, he just schooled you, Adam.
But Stanford gonna win. Stanford's gonna win. I mean,
you had me convinced that Stanford was the better team, but now I'm like,
they're gonna win.
Okay with my decision.
They're gonna fucking win. That's why. Okay. Now on the I guess on the count of on 0. Let's all say our choice for this next one, because we got number 3 Oregon versus, I think, Utah. Actually, since I wrote this, I think they went up in the college football playoff poll. I think they're like 23 or 22. I don't really know. Don't really care. But hey, it's a ranked opponent which it's been a while since we've had one of those. It's literally been like, who was the last ranked team? Was it goddamn Ohio State? There must have been someone. Right? I can't even remember. It's been a while. Number 3 Oregon at a top 25 Utah. That's in Salt Lake City. Let's all on 0 say who we're voting for here. 3, 2, 1. Oregon.
Utah.
No. You being real right now, Aaron?
I think so.
Are you being real right now?
Yeah, something makes me feel like we're gonna blow this. And also it's on ABC. ABC, I've said it once, I've said it before. ABC does not like us.
Yeah,
that is for sure.
Wow.
I honestly think Utah's gonna win this, and I hate saying it.
Wow. Aaron, that scares me a bit, honestly. That
I'm just writing the universe. That's all I know, man.
Only a handful of times have you ever gone against the Ducks in your picks.
Look, the only way this game, I mean, we're going to show up in Utah and there's going to be 3 inches of snow on the ground and we're going to be screwed.
Well, I mean, we're running the ball. That's all I got to know.
That's a great point, actually.
Well, we're going to have an interview, everybody, coming up here with a Utah expert we're very excited to talk about. Keep an eye on our feed. We'll get into that game more. But your boy, yeah, that's right, I'm going with Oregon because I'm a true Duck fan. Then we got this Judas over here going with Utah. And then the final game, Arizona State at Oregon State. This is some up and down seasons for both of these guys. We know who you're going with, yes, because you're anti-Arizona stance.
I think we can all assume I'll be going with Oregon State, and we'd be
Oregon
assuming
State
correctly.
Which has me going with Arizona State. And I gotta say, even though you really forced my hand on all these picks, I'm feeling pretty good. I think I'm gonna at least win this week. I'm gonna get more correct picks than you.
Really?
I think I'm gonna absolutely.
I just went 6 for 6.
You gave me Arizona State. You gave me Oregon. You gave me. I think Stanford's gonna do it because they're my favorite. Then UCLA. I forget who you gave me. Yeah, UCLA. Man, I'm gonna win this shit.
Yeah, I do feel bad about going against Oregon, and I'm gonna edit out the part where I say that.
No, you aren't. No, you
aren't.
No, you aren't.
It's just the way it crumbles for us, I think.
I'll tweet it right now just to make sure there's a paper trail.
I've never gone against them in the past. This is my first time, and it hurts real bad.
So, Hyth, I'm sure you got Utah in your head, obviously, because you're doing all the film review for our next opponent. But you're about to get a huge crash course in Oregon State, too, I imagine.
Yeah, I've watched them a couple of times this year. But yes, that's, next week's project. I don't know. This game's really close. Like, if you pull up the advanced stats on it, it's like it's right down the middle. Like, no one knows how this game could go. I feel like Arizona State's probably a more talented team. I feel like Oregon State's a better coach team. I don't know what to think about Oregon State without the defensive coordinator. Arizona State feasts on explosive plays. Oregon State wants to play methodically, and so I don't know. Those games are always sort of difficult to predict because, like, on the one hand, the methodical team could definitely just take all the oxygen out of the room and just and just sit on them. On the other hand, the explosive team only needs a couple of plays. I don't know. This feels like a game where it's like somebody's going to fumble the ball 3 times. That's going to be what determines it, and like the stuff that it's the unpredictable factors will determine the outcome of the game, and the stuff that you can predict is just going to all be a wash. Is sort of how I view it, and stay the hell away from this game.
Yeah, here's the thing: we all know I'm a master of the unpredictable, which means it's a lock.
Man, I'm gonna be so pissed if Utah wins. Just so I'm gonna be pissed at you, Aaron. I'm actually
you're gonna be pissed at the Utes, is I think what you meant to say.
I'm pretty damn confident that the Ducks are gonna win this Saturday. Like, I'm not even knocking on this wood right next to me because I'm so damn confident the Ducks are gonna win.
Yeah, no, I think natural causes, ego, things will be in the way this time.
I don't like when you start speaking all.
But I will say this. Crystal Ball, from things I've read, when traveling, does a really good job of keeping their sleep schedules and all of these things moving in a clean and orderly fashion so that they don't get too messed up from time changes or whatever. And I guess it's only
mountain time, my man.
Yeah.
But still, I guess.
And it's hours on the road.
Yeah. Well, flying.
Yeah, I mean, if you got to go with psychological factors in a game, like it's Mario Cristobal in a big game, and it's Utah in November.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm like it. Either way, Duck fans, we're glad that you joined us here. We're also glad that our Resident Evil film reviewer Hythloday joined us from Addicted to Quack. That is at Hythloday, the number 1, HYTHLODAY, the number 1 on Twitter. Please give him a follow so you can read Duct Tape on Addicted to Quack. And hey, while you're on the internet's machine, go to Quack 12 Podcast, either our website, you can go to our YouTube channel, or you can follow us on Twitter at Quack 12 Podcast. I love you, Aaron. It was fun hanging out, watching some games. Hythloday, thanks for joining us. Go Ducks, everybody.
Quack, quack.